I'm here with a whole bunch of Reveal cat food, and I need to issue a warning about this cat food.
Stella, Splash, Simba, Hydrox, Ditto, and Boo. The Lucky Ferals.
So lately I've been seeing information online from people that are feeding this food to their cats, and this is the only food that they're feeding to their cats. So I wanted to make this video. It is very, very important. If you're feeding this food to your cats, or if you know anyone who's feeding this food to their cats, make sure you share this video with them. This food is not a complete food. I'm going to repeat that again. This Reveal cat food is not a complete food for cats. What does that mean? A complete food for cats is going to have all the nutrition that a cat needs, so that if it eats that food and only that food for weeks, months, years, it is not going to have any nutritional deficiencies. This food is not a complete cat food. This is a supplemental food. What does that mean? That means you can feed this food to your cats as a treat. You could feed it to them as a snack. You could feed it to them as an occasional meal. You could feed it to them for a few days. But if you feed this food to your cats for an extended period of time, if you feed it to them for weeks, months, years, the cats are eventually going to experience nutritional deficiencies. And when a cat is experiencing nutritional deficiencies, that is when symptoms can start developing, and then you could end up with a sick cat. I'm not saying this food makes your cat sick. This food is not going to make your cat sick if you feed this food to your cat. If you feed only this food to your cat for an extended period of time, the cat will eventually develop symptoms of deficiencies. I bought a few of each style of food that they sell in this Reveal brand, so we could take a look at what's going on here. So first we have these broth cups. Well, that's what I'm calling them. I'm calling them a broth cup because they're in these plastic cups. Now they have different flavors. This is chicken breast with duck. This is sardine and mackerel. This is tuna fillet with shrimp. But overall, they're all the same, because if you turn the package over and if you read the fine print right here in all capital letters, it says, this product is intended for intermittent or supplemental feeding only. Can be fed as part of a complete and balanced diet. Refrigerate unused portion. So it's telling you right here on the back. Unfortunately, many people don't read the back of the cat food packaging, and there's also many people that can't read the back of the cat food packaging just because the print might be too small for their eyes. So that is very, very important. It says that on each of these packages. Now, if you're ever not sure if a food is not a complete food, here's another way to tell. Look at the ingredients. The ingredients are chicken breast, chicken broth, and duck. If you do not see taurine listed as an ingredient, that means the food is only a supplemental food. And people will say, well, there's taurine in chicken breast and there's taurine in duck. Why do you need taurine in the food? The reason why is because in order for a food to be considered a complete food for cats, it is a requirement in the United States that it has additional taurine added to it. So it might be different in other countries, but in the United States, for a food to be a complete food, it has to have taurine listed in the ingredients. If you don't see it in the ingredients, that's another quick way to see if a food is a complete food or not. Thankfully, with this brand, they do say that this is supplemental feeding only. However, it does not say that anywhere on the front of the packaging, and that is an issue. The same thing goes for the sardine and mackerel recipe. Nowhere on the front does it say supplemental food only, but on the back it has the same warning. And that will be the same for all of these varieties of broth in cups. And now we get to the pouches, and we look at the pouch. It says tuna fillet with sea bream in a natural broth, grain-free, limited ingredients, approved by cats. It says it's dolphin friendly, but nowhere does it say it's a supplemental food only. Now with this one, we can see the information right here. Same information. This product is intended for intermittent or supplemental feeding only. Can be fed as part of a complete and balanced diet, which means this itself is not a complete and balanced diet. You do not want to only feed this to your cat unless you want your cat to eventually develop health problems. And the ingredients in this are tuna fillet, fish broth, and sea bream. Now there's nothing wrong with the ingredients in any of these foods. They are healthy, natural ingredients. The problem is that they are not a complete food for cats. A complete food for cats has to include organ meats like liver and hearts. It has to include bones or calcium supplementation, and all of the ingredients need to be in a proper ratio for cats. So once again, these pouches are not complete foods for cats. This is the tuna fillet with shrimp in a natural broth. And if we turn it over, it has the same warning that this is only a supplemental food. And the same thing goes for the chicken breast. It has the same warning. This is for supplemental feeding only. And the ingredients in here are chicken breast and chicken broth. So this pouch of chicken breast in water, because if you cook chicken breast in water, you get chicken broth, cost $1.59. And this is a 2.47 ounce package. And if we do some quick math, we could see that we're spending about $12 a pound for some cooked chicken breast in water. So you're much better off going to the supermarket, buying a chicken breast for $1.99 a pound, that's what they are around here, cooking it in some water, which makes some chicken broth, shredding it yourself, and then feeding it to your cat. It's so much cheaper. And anything that you don't want to feed to your cat right away, you can then freeze and then defrost when you need it. So much cheaper. And here we have the small cans of the Reveal cat food. It's the same food that they have in the pouches or those cups. I guess they just put it in different packaging based upon what people's personal preferences are with what they purchase for their cats. But if we turn this around, we could see that this also has the same warning. This product is intended for intermittent or supplemental feeding only. So just because this food is in a can does not mean it's a complete food for cats. And the same goes for their food in broth as well as for their food in gravy. This is the tuna fillet in gravy, and it has the same warning. This product is intended for intermittent or supplemental feeding only. And here we have the larger 5.5 ounce cans. Surely this must be a complete food for cats, right? This is tuna fillet with crab. But we're wrong, because if we turn it around and we look at it, it says this product is intended for intermittent or supplemental feeding only. This is not a complete food for cats. From the front of the package, it looks like it's a complete food for cats, but if you read the back of the packaging, which is very, very important to do, you will see it's not a complete food. And also, don't forget, if you read the ingredients, it's tuna fillet, fish broth, and crab. There's no additional taurine added, so that is another clue that this is not a complete food for cats. And it's the same thing with the chicken breast in broth. Again, they just put it in the large can, they put it in the small can, they put it in the pouch, they put it in the cup. Same exact food. None of this is a complete food for cats. This is a very important message to get out to anyone that you know who is feeding this food to their cats, to make sure that they are not feeding this food as the only food their cats are eating. So how would I use this food for my cats? I would use this food as a treat. So if my cats have breakfast, and if they have dinner, and if they want a nighttime snack, usually I could split a large can up between 4 cats, smaller cans between 2 cats. Sometimes I could split up the smaller cans between 4 cats. It really just depends on what their activity levels were that day. This is also a good food to use for special occasions for your cats. I like to feed my cats some kind of canned fish-based cat food once a week to make sure that they're getting a variety of nutrition. So something like this would be something that I would feed them once a week. Or this is good to use as a meal topper. You could put a little bit of this food on food that is a complete meal for cats. The other problem that I have with this food, because it's not a complete food, is if you feed this food to your cat and then they decide this is all they want to eat. Like, we know how fussy and finicky cats can be. If they decide that they like this food better than their complete food and this is all they want to eat, then there's an issue, because it's going to be hard to get a cat to eat their complete food if they prefer this food much better. Also, if I was in a situation where this was the only cat food that was available to me and I was feeding my cats for a few days, then I would feed this for a few days. But I would not feed this on an ongoing basis. I would not feed this to my cats on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis. This is not a complete food. So I did look at all of the reveal food that was sold in the store where I purchased this, and it was one of the big box pet supply stores, and none of the reveal food that I saw in the store was a complete food for cats. So that was very concerning. Also, there was no signage anywhere on the shelves that said this is a supplemental food, this is not a complete food. So I think that should be required for pet supply stores. There should be signage that says supplemental feeding only. But more importantly, the pet food manufacturers, whoever's manufacturing this reveal cat food, needs to put that prominently displayed on the front of the packaging. It needs to prominently say supplemental food only. And so that's my warning about this cat food. If you're feeding this to your cats, make sure this is not the only food that they're eating. Make sure they are eating a complete food for cats. Whether it's raw food, homemade food, canned food, or dry food, make sure it's a complete food for cats. One other good way to use this food would be is if your cat only eats dry food and you want to transition them to a wet food diet, something like this could help with their transition. So if you're feeding them their dry food and then you put some of this food on top of the dry food, they might like it and then they might eat it, and then next time you'd give them a little bit more of this food, and then you would transition them off of the dry onto a wet, but you would also transition them onto a complete wet food. So this could kind of be like a food that would bridge the gap between getting a cat off the dry food and getting a cat onto the wet food. But again, then you run the risk of the cat liking this food better than the complete food and then only wanting to eat this food. So you have to be very, very careful when you're purchasing cat food these days, even with the healthier brands. You have to be very, very careful. I am so disappointed in so many brands of cat food right now, even the healthy brands of cat food, and I'll have more videos about that in the future. So if you want to hear more about that, make sure you subscribe to this channel and I will have more videos about that. But for now, I just wanted to get this warning out as quickly as possible. If you're feeding this food to your cats, or if you know anyone's feeding this food to your cats, this is not a complete food for cats. Make sure you're feeding them a complete meal and you're only using this as supplemental food. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you for watching this Lucky Ferals video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you'd like me to post more videos, and please make sure to check out these other videos that were selected especially for you.